So his name is Michael David Barrett.
Mm-hmm.
When you hear that name, what does it bring up for you?
Oh, it makes me want to throw up and hit him in the face. Just grab him and say, why would you do this to me? He's a father, too.
He said he hoped one day you could forgive him.
Yeah.
Have you?
No.
Do you think you could?
No.
Why?
Because I have to relive it all the time. It's shaped who I am as a person. It messed with my family. It hurt my mom and dad so bad, and it still does. And you don't get any sort of pass for doing that.
Erin Andrews isn't one to give a pass easily, or to ask for one. After all, she has succeeded in one of the toughest fields around, the National Football League. She's the lead NFL sideline reporter for Fox Sports.
Football's grimy, and it's sweaty.
It's awesome.
And it's violent.
It's the best.
She's loved it ever since she grew up in a tight-knit family in Florida, which included her little sister Kendra, her schoolteacher mom, and her TV reporter dad, who taught her all about sports. When she graduated from the University of Florida in 2000, Erin rushed headfirst into the decidedly male world of sports reporting.
As a gorgeous female reporter immersed in all-male sports, what was that like for you?
In the beginning, I didn't care. I was just so excited to be around, the teams I grew up covering. Never an issue. I mean, as, years passed and I became more elevated in the industry, it started to be conversation. And I feel like even now, it's so sad it's the conversation. So I feel like you are criticized even more than any male is if you look a certain way. I feel like it's allowed me to be as driven as I am, because if a person comes up to me and says, well, what do you think about the 49ers and all the changes they've made in the front office? If I stumble or I don't know the answer, she doesn't know what she's talking about. It's because she's a female.
By 2009, that drive had landed Erin a dream job, working for ESPN. Life was good.
So here you are, you've established yourself, you
Right.
worked your way up, you found your way into a male-dominated industry, and then you get a phone call out of the blue one day from a friend?
A friend, yes.
And what does he say to you?
He started crying and he just said, there's naked video of you all over the internet. And I just said, no, there's not. I don't do that stuff. I'm not worried about it. It's not me, no big deal. And he just said, EA, you have to look. And so I opened my laptop and it was open for about 2 seconds. And I just said, I have to go. And I called my mom and dad.
What was that feeling when you first saw yourself?
Oh, I think to this day, how many years later, you can still see it on my face. I was just stunned. I was in shock. I was embarrassed. I was freaking out so much that when I called my parents, my dad thought I had been injured in a car accident because I was just screaming bloody murder on the other end.
Did you know it was you?
Yes, you know your body very quickly.
How do you process that? I mean, did you go to somebody must have secretly filmed me?
Honestly, the first thing I said was my career is over. I'm done. Nobody's ever going to take me seriously again. I've worked so hard. This is going to be over now.
The first thought wasn't someone did something to me.
It was my job.
To make matters worse, people initially accused Erin of releasing the tape herself as a publicity stunt to further her career.
That is obviously something I still struggle with, because the fact that people would think that this was a joke and I did this, to this day, I think that's still what drives me. I still want to show people, I didn't do this. I'm not the girl that you think that I am.
Why do you care what they think?
I don't know. Please tell me how you don't care about what these people think.
Years of practice?
Yeah. Give me whatever you're drinking. I'll take it times 2.
You're doing just fine. At some point, you went to meet with the FBI.
Yeah.
With your dad. And they actually wanted you to watch the videotape with them.
Yes.
What was that like?
It was awful. I think they wanted to see what my reaction was, because they wanted to see if this was real. And they also were saying, we have to figure out where you were. I live in hotels because I'm always on the road. So I remember they covered up my face, or they covered up my body, and they were like, just look at the room. And I just looked at my dad and I said, I'm gonna throw up. And he said, do it. They have to see it's real. And I just puked everywhere. So then they were like, let's do this. And we actually found out that day. We sat in the meeting room with the FBI, who I love so much, who helped me, and we figured out where I was. We found out that day.
It happened at this hotel in Nashville, Tennessee. Now they had to find out who did it. Who stood outside her hotel room door and videotaped her through an altered peephole as she got dressed.
One of the videos we had to watch, you can hear him breathing in it. You can also hear people behind him walking, which is also disgusting. And he's angling turning it every way I turn. But I think the breathing is the hardest part. You can just hear him breathing.
What is that like for you?
Ugh, makes me want to take about 80 showers. It's so gross. And then, there was the next question. Was he ever going to come to my house in Atlanta where I was living? Did I know him? We were so afraid, did I know him?
It turned out to be a stranger from Illinois who had stalked her at 3 different hotels. He pleaded guilty to interstate stalking and was sentenced to 2.5 years in prison.
Was that enough time?
No.
Do you feel like the courts take stalking seriously?
No.
And cyber crimes?
No.
Erin sued her stalker and the companies that owned and managed the hotel in Nashville for not protecting her privacy. She said she wanted to hold them accountable. The case went to court last year.
There were times that I was walking into the courthouse and I was like, I'm gonna pass out. There's cameras everywhere. I'm so pissed off right now that I was like, I'm gonna be the Green Bay Packer offensive line right now. I'm gonna walk in like I'm gonna crush that D-line and I'm gonna go after them. And I said to my law team every single day when they were like, are you sure you wanna go through with this? We can back out. And I said, let's do it, because I know when a jury sees what this has done to me, that'll tell the story.
And I'm just like, Dad, I'm naked all over the internet, and I don't know what it is, and I don't know where I am. And
What was the toughest moment during the trial?
There were a couple. My mom and dad was the hardest, because they're my rock. And just seeing your mom just so nervous before she has to walk out there.
And I said, oh my God, what's wrong? Is she hurt? Is she what? And then I heard her say, naked. I am naked, Dad. They've got me, I'm naked.
Listen, I live my life in the public eye. My dad's an investigative reporter. My mom's an elementary school art teacher. She's not in front of the camera for a living. She did such an awesome job, and all she wanted to do is just do a great job for me. There was a moment with my law team that they said, we now have to play the video. We have to play the video for the jury. And I said, we are blacking out my body, right? And they said, we are not. They have to see all of this to feel the magnitude of it, to know what was done to you. I had a meltdown. I just lost it. We decided that they were gonna have me leave the room because I could not go through that again. And they had me walk out. And then I remember walking back in after I knew the jury had watched it. And I was just so embarrassed. I felt so embarrassed to I was sitting next to them for 2 weeks for them to have seen it. So that was really hard.
So after 2 weeks of testimony,
Yeah.
so much heartache, tears, hives, breakdowns.
A lot of hives.
There ultimately came a time when the jury came back with a verdict.
Right.
What was that like?
It was scary. I didn't think we were gonna win. I really didn't.
But it was a huge victory. The jurors awarded Erin $55 million, which was later settled for an undisclosed amount. Last summer, with the trial finally behind her, Erin was looking ahead to another year as co-host of ABC's Dancing with the Stars, and of course, a new season of football. But then, out of the blue, a message from her doctor changed everything.
I just got a text from my gynecologist that said, you need to call me right now. And I was like, oh, this isn't good.
Hey, NBC News fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.